Welcome. My name is Antonia Beziaco, and I am the Head of Education and Training for Healthcare Projects and Change Association. And I also lead the NHS ED&I Project and Change Management Network. Welcome to National Apprenticeship Week 2024, the 17th annual week-long celebration. This year's theme is Skills for Life. And apprenticeships are integral to workforce planning. They are also very important to improve recruitment, retention, and access to learning and education as set out in the NHS long-term plan. So today's theme is Apprentice Wednesday, and we are having an apprenticeship Q&A. We are sharing some success stories and letting everyone know that we are celebrating apprenticeships. We want to promote what is possible. What can you achieve in doing an apprenticeship? So the HPCA has launched 6 apprenticeship programs, project-related, providing an excellent avenue to cultivate long-term project and change management skills. These programs offer a sustainable approach to investing in your workforce, facilitating retention and retraining your staff. And their broad appeal also ensures a diverse participant pool. So this emphasizes on workplace learning, and the apprenticeships yield immediate benefits, and when integrated with other educational resources, promises substantial gains to your organization. So you may ask, how can apprenticeship benefit your organization? Apprenticeships can ensure that you develop clear career pathways, retain and retrain your staff, reshape the workforce, encourage diversity, attract a wider pool of recruits, train and employ locally, represent your local organization and your community, plug recruitment gaps, cultivate a learning organization, and support mobility and progression. So today we have with us Martin Staden, who has recently completed the Level 4 Data Analyst Apprenticeship with a fantastic distinction. Martin was an exceptional and exemplary learner who delivered impactful projects to his employer thanks to the skills he learned on the program. Whilst being on top of his apprenticeships and duties, he also completed the program on time. Martin also has been incredible in helping his peers on the program. Martin works as a patient data insight manager for one of the NHS hospital trust, and he has been out of formal education for quite a long time. And the apprenticeship has given him back so much confidence. He's now looking at using his data skills in further work-based projects. So thank you very much, Martin, for kindly offering to share your experience and discuss the impact of your apprenticeship, progression opportunities, and how you have achieved your career goals. So to start off by asking you, please tell us a little bit about your job role and types of activities that you are involved in.
So my full job title, I'm a patient and staff experience data insight manager, which sounds very grandiose and everything else. In essence, the main day-to-day bread and butter work I do, though, is within our hospital trust, I bring together all of our patient experience data as best I can, try and align it, try and make sense of it, and try and then share that information back out with the rest of the organization so that everybody can see what it is that our patients are saying about our services, what we're doing well, what we're not necessarily doing the way people would like all the time, and therefore, celebrating successes, but also identifying areas for improvement, and then hopefully guiding people towards those improvements and helping make patients' experience better across the trust. That's the day job, certainly.
That sounds very interesting, and it sounds very rewarding as well, because the bottom of everything that the NHS does is patient outcome. That is brilliant. So tell us a bit about the apprenticeship program you covered. What did they entail?
So as you mentioned, I undertook the Level 4 Data Analyst course. So although I bring a data numbers sort of background to my role now. A lot of things were self-taught and sort of picked up along the way, and I think I've got a good instinct for what I do as a role, but I wanted more, I suppose, concrete evidence and education and confidence almost in what it is that I demonstrate, what I'm explaining to people. It's that fear of, or being able to overcome that fear of somebody challenging something I've presented and me then not having the confidence to say, well, no, actually, the graph shows this because of this, this, and this, rather than just going, oh, I don't really know. It looks that way. So it's having more gravitas, I suppose, behind some of the things that I say. So that was it. The course itself entailed my very understanding line manager allowing me or encouraging me to develop myself. So taking, in essence, a day a week across the time that I was on the course, undertaking bits of live teaching, sort of self-guided study as well, completing assignments, doing project work and things like that to get myself from the position at the start where I had bits of knowledge and things that I sort of gathered together to sort of more consolidated sort of foundation and base in all things data analytics.
Awesome, thank you. So did you think that, because you said you've got data background already, do you think that it'd be advisable for someone to have a little bit of a data understanding or background to go on this particular program that you embanked on?
Not necessarily. I think that data attracts a certain type of person. There's no other way I can put it. If numbers and trends and patterns and things interest you, even if you haven't got that background, if you look at Excel at the moment and you think, oh, I don't like that's a horrible thing. I think that the course would take you from having that interest and that bit of natural insight, I suppose. So you wouldn't need to have previous experience necessarily. I think even as a foundation from almost nothing, having that little spark within yourself, I think would be enough to get you going, certainly.
Awesome. And you did mention something that related a bit to time, that you were lucky enough to have a manager support you. Would you have struggled with creating time for these studies if your manager wasn't a bit supportive with giving you that one day?
I think it would still have been possible. I could have still fitted the elements of the course around sort of other day-to-day tasks here and there. I think having managerial support, her being invested in my development, I think in that way, motivated me for a start. It gave me more of an incentive to apply myself, and it gave me that freedom to be able to literally block out a day in my diary and say that, barring an absolute emergency, I'm doing coursework on this day for the most part. And so it helped. But again, I think even within myself, I had the motivation to get through, to complete the course. So I would have made it work either way, I would say. But having managerial support definitely made it a lot easier. Yeah. But I think it sort of drove me on a bit.
Awesome, yeah. It's really important to have a managers on board, from my experience, and make sure that you have that protected 20% of the job training where you can actually take time to do your coursework. So yeah, I completely agree with you. So what attracted you to undertake an apprenticeship?
As you sort of touched on the introduction, I'd previously undertaken formal education up to degree level, but that was quite a long time ago now. Unfortunately, the passing of time affects us all, and I hadn't had the best learning experience back then. I was probably a little bit immature, a bit unwise back then, but I got myself into a role that I really enjoyed, but wanted to, I suppose, build on that, become better at the job that I do now. And so I wanted to, I suppose, being a more mature person, both in age and in mentality, almost see that I could apply myself to a course to take it through to completion and succeed. So that was some of the motivation that I brought in. Does that answer your question?
Yes, it does. And that takes me to the next question, which says, did you ever consider other learning routes before deciding that the apprenticeship was right for you?
I looked at a few different things. I'd through sort of looking online, you see places advertising master's courses delivered remotely and all these sorts of things.
Mm-hmm.
But it would be the cost implication, the time implication, having to do that entirely separately from work, I think would be quite demanding. So I looked at different options, but the apprenticeship seemed to fit best for my circumstances as they are at the moment, certainly.
Yeah, definitely helps that you are working and you're doing the apprenticeship and they're kind of like interwoven and related. So it saves you that having to switch off and do the remote masters in data analytics or something. Yeah, I completely agree with you. So what challenges did you face and how did you overcome them during your apprenticeship?
I had, I think, three what I'll describe as wobbles throughout the course. So 3 points where life got a little bit in the way, whether it was taking holidays at the wrong time for the course and so missing some of the live teaching, or just other things getting in the way. But the other thing I found was the project work. Even when from when I was at school through university, I'd always say that I was fairly good at a one-off exam. Ask me a question, I can give an answer. But given a wider piece of work, I found the projects tougher to get back into. It's always been a sticking point with me for whatever reason. So, but I suppose recognised that things weren't quite going the way that I wanted them to. I'd fallen a bit behind because I'd been away, but sort of chatting to my line manager to an extent, chatting to the training provider, sort of support that they offered as well, and explaining the situation to them. They were again really engaged and involved and happy to guide me and help me. Not to say everything will be fine, but to help me realise that things might not quite be as bad as they might have seemed. I wasn't as far behind as I thought it was, and I just needed to put together a plan to get myself back on track. And once I was back on track again, I was always much happier. So yeah, that was how I got through my little wobbles.
Awesome. Yeah, I completely relate to you. Yeah, when you're in actual formal education, you just kind of like, well, me personally, I kind of just study to pass the exam. And after that, well, it's not there.
Yeah.
It's all gone. But the apprenticeship kind of like embedded the learning because you're working on it, you're doing it in your day job as well. And it's constantly, around what you're doing, your project you're working on. So it's more hands-on kind of learning. And that's my ideal way of learning. So is there any apprenticeship tips that you could share with someone who's thinking of embarking on this wonderful journey?
I think that the two key lessons that I've taken away from it were to try and be very bounded with my time. So literally, as mentioned earlier, setting aside a day a week in my diary and trying to stick to that being the same day each week, so everybody kind of got used to that fact. But if people were contacting me, messaging me, emailing me, being able to not have to worry about that. So where possible, sticking to that day. But equally, if circumstances meant that I didn't get that time, making sure that I then allocated a different day or a different part of a day to make sure that I kept up the hours. But the other thing that I kept, the little mantra that I had for myself during the course, was to trust the process. The people delivering the training, the people sort of running the admin side of things know what they're doing. So even if to me it feels a little bit unnerving not knowing timeframes and timescales or whether I'm on track or behind or everything else, if you stick by their guidance, you should be fine. It should all work out well in the end. But it's just, I suppose, having that faith in the process and the faith in the people to that they're as involved in getting you through the course as you are yourself. So yeah, if you trust the process, then you should get to where you want to be.
That's brilliant. I like the way you put that together. So block out your time, be strict with the time. However, be flexible. And if worst case scenario, you have to juggle your time around, juggle it around, but still make sure you give yourself the full 1 day to do your work and trust the process. That is a good one. I wish I had this conversation with you before I completed my apprenticeship because many times I had this chat with my skills coach, and he used to use a phrase saying, "Don't worry, Antonia, the penny will drop." And I kept thinking, when would the penny drop? But eventually, trusting the process, like you said, actually did make me relax a bit. And then the penny dropped, and I was like, oh, this is a light bulb moment. I should have thought about that. And that's how I got through it. Just stick with it, trust the process, and the penny will drop. Awesome. So, how did you manage to support your peers on the program? So I wanted to find out, how did you support your peers in the programs whilst in the program and doing every other thing that you had to do to get through your day job, through your own program, and get through your life as well? What was the kind of support?
So within my cohort or my course, there were a number of other NHS staff. So one of them very helpfully and cleverly set up a little Teams chat amongst people who were interested. So the four of us sort of checked in, not quite weekly, but every now and again, just to see how everyone was getting on with sort of the live teaching, and if we had any little problems, talking it through amongst ourselves to try and help each other, all coming from that sort of health background, although we're all very different parts of the NHS, I suppose.
Yeah.
So that was, so within our course cohort, that little group has been invaluable. So if you can find those connections, whether it is through sort of shared organisations, shared background, whatever it might be, that's really good. But also in terms of, I suppose, support to my peers within work, I often found that when people were approaching me with different problems, data questions, those kinds of things, I would find that my brain would go back to something from the course that I might have done a week ago, a month ago, and think, oh yeah, I know the answer to that now. I know that in order to be able to, I can't even think of an example, but I know that in terms of data visualization, for example, well, I might previously have gone for this type of chart. I know that one's clearer now, so I'll tailor that to my audience. So yeah, applying the learning back helps support my work peers. And then in terms of the work-life balance, because I've been so bounded with my time, it sounds terrible to say, I didn't do an awful lot of work outside of work time. So it didn't have that knock-on effect. I wasn't there at weekends or evenings very often, certainly, working away at the course. So it didn't impact the work-life balance because it fit in with work as it was. And I think I'm in a bit of a privileged position to be able to say that. I don't know how often that applies across other organizations, but it just fell that way for me, that was how it worked out.
That's brilliant. If from this question, I was thinking, when you started the program, when did you, because you mentioned something, you said you were like a problem solver for people on your team. And when you're trying to solve these problems, it kind of like light bulb moment, oh, I could use that for my coursework kind of thing. Or I could use this skill from this coursework and apply it to this problem I'm trying to solve. So when did you find out that this apprenticeship program I'm on right now, is impacting my job? It's making me, use skills I'm getting from it on my job. Or how quick within the time frame in the program did you start applying the skills? or your day job?
I mean, in terms of applying the skills, any within reason, any opportunity that presented itself, that it, with it fitting aligning so closely to my day job, it was easy enough to think, oh yeah, again, data visualization. Bear in mind that although I like Excel and all these complicated graphs and things, my audience don't. So I need to sort of engage with them as stakeholders and say, what do you think of this? Is this too complicated? Or ask them how they would like things to be displayed, but guide them a little bit if I can. But I mean, throughout, I would say, because it did line up so well to my day job, because I do within our organization, people seem to come to me with odd little problems and puzzles and things, which I really enjoy. It's quite good fun. So being able to think well on the course about how things might apply back to the day job, but also as people come to me with other little random queries here and there, to also think, oh yeah, I know the answer to that too now, because I've picked up on it, has been good. It means that more people come to me with more things, which isn't always ideal, but it's it keeps me busy. Let's put it that way.
That is brilliant. I like that. So what would you say to others who are thinking about undertaking an apprenticeship? What would you advise them?
Do it. It's the simplest answer. If you've got that desire to learn, and you've got the support behind you, it feels like a no-brainer. You get the opportunity to pick up new skills. Doesn't incur any cost because it's all sort of covered and everything else, which is lovely. Not many things in this world come for free, and well, why wouldn't you do it? I think is the easiest way I can express that.
Just do it. That's brilliant. Is a no-brainer. You're working, you're being paid to also learn and improve your skills, reskill yourself, and it's just a no-brainer. And your work time is not affected. You don't have to do it weekends or in the evenings. You have a specific time within your work, 5 days a week, take a day off and do your learning. It's a no-brainer. Yeah, just do it. So now that you've completed your apprenticeship program with an exceptional distinction, congratulations.
Thank you.
What's next? What's on the horizon for you?
Would you believe I'm undertaking another course? So back when I started my journey into thinking about apprenticeships, I felt like ability-wise, I sat a bit between two of the different levels. So the level 4 that I undertook was, I felt at that stage I was there or thereabouts in terms of experience and everything else, but wanted to cement my knowledge. But I'd also looked at a high level course, so a level 7 course. So having now gone through the level 4, having gone successfully, as you say, distinction, I don't like to mention it, but yeah, it went well. It's given me that confidence back that I can then take that step up to the higher level, to it'll be a level 7 now, AI and data science, a level 7 data course. So again, I've got that confidence in myself. I know more of the ins and outs of how the apprenticeship system works. So I know more of what to expect, what to worry about, what not to worry about so much. So it felt like a natural progression to take. And again, my line manager has supported me, has pushed me to do it. So yeah, that's my next step.
Watch this space. We might have you back next year to tell us more about that. How is it going? Oh, that's amazing. You have inspired me. I was thinking about going on another program, so now now you've inspired me. And I hope that when people watch this, they get inspired to get on an apprenticeship program and just do it like you said. It doesn't cost anything, and you're learning, because the world is evolving, skills are changing, people are learning, and the more you learn and retrain yourself, the more you're able to, put yourself out there in the job market, get the promotion that you need, or move to the next level, whatever it is your ambition is in your career progression. So awesome. Thank you very much. And is there anything else you want to tell us or add to round this up?
I don't think so. I think I've kind of covered everything off in the answers to your questions. I think.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Yes, you have. It's been a fantastic opportunity to have you on this program today. And I hope that you get another distinction in your nest. I don't have any doubts. I know you're going to have a distinction. So, and keep me posted and let us know how you get on. And hopefully we'll see you in the near future. Thank you very much.
No problem.